Hi everyone, so today I have a book review for you. I know it's been a really long time. Today I'm going to review Dark Inside by Jeyn. It was published by Simon & Schuster. You can find it in the YA section. It has 329 pages and I rated it a 4.5 out of 5. I enjoyed this book a lot actually, but there are just a few things that threw me off. Let's talk about the cover first. I really like this cover. I know I mentioned in a previous video that I didn't like this cover, but after reading the book I really do like this cover because it represents the story really well in regards to the atmosphere of the story and the tone and the eyes especially. The eyes are kind of like a theme or a motif in the story. And I just really like this cover and I think it represents the plot really well. That being said, let's tell you the summary. It's psycho out there. They're killing everyone. It's only a matter of time till they find us. An ancient evil has been unleashed and is turning friends into murderous strangers. For those who survived the brutal earthquakes and the first wave of the killing, the world is a different, deadlier place. Society has fallen apart. No one can be trusted. For 4 teens struggling to stay alive in a world determined to kill them, it means all they have is one another, if they can trust one another, and the hope that their future holds something greater than mere survival. Debut author Jeyn writes a riveting apocalyptic novel about a world gone mad that will linger with readers long after they turn the last page. In this book, it's sort of like humanity has gone haywire, and like more so than usual. This paranormal thing that happens after this earthquake is sort of unleashed out of the earthquake, like out of the cracks of the earth, and it influences people to kill people, kind of like takes over them. I never read a post-apocalyptic book before, and I felt like the book wasn't a typical, post-apocalyptic story. Like, it wasn't cookie-cutter-ish with the characters and stuff like that. It was very unique. What I really liked about the book is that it asked the question about human nature and the choices that people are faced with to choose good or to choose evil. It dealt with temptation and giving into your dark side, hence the title, Dark Inside, manipulation, and just choices in general about life and decisions and survival and hope. Another thing that I really liked about the book was you could actually read this book 5 different ways, but the book is broken up into 5 parts, sort of. There are 4 characters. I'll talk about them later. So when you first open up the book, this comes up and nothing. Nothing is one of the 5 parts. And then Mason, next character, and so on and so forth. You can actually pick a character to read about if you wanted to, but towards the end of the middle, sort of, that doesn't really work out anymore because things happen and it kind of takes away from the plot if you just stick with one character. But if you want to, you can. I just suggest reading it all through before you just pick one character and just read strictly about them. That being said, let's talk about the characters. In the beginning, I wasn't immediately attached to any of the characters. I was trying to get to know them still. So the 4 characters that this book is basically about is Mason, Clementine, Aries, and Michael. And they all have their separate stories. They're all different places when this earthquake happens. Out of the 4 characters, I really liked Mason and Clementine the best. Mason is sort of faced with this hard decision in regards to one of his family members, and he's taking it really hard, and you see him struggling throughout the entire plot, but he just pushes through it, and he's so determined to survive in this world. And I think that's very commendable on his part, and all the characters want to survive, but him specifically, because he's already wounded and broken, he just pushes through that brokenness. He emotionally struggles throughout this book the entire time, day by day. And it was really hard to read about him because you could just feel how devastated and numb and cold he was sometimes. But he is a really good character. He's very, very loyal. and very brave. The other character I really liked was Clementine. When you meet Clementine, she is thrust into a situation she doesn't want to be in. She has to make a split decision, and that kind of influences her drive throughout the entire plot. She is separated from her family in the story, and this entire time she's alone in this world, and she's trying to find her brother. And I think that's commendable as well, having her brother being the driving force for her to survive and the main source. She is very determined, obviously. She lets nothing get in her way, and she's very smart, very brave as well, and very strong-willed, and I really, really like that about her. The next character is Aries. We meet Aries on a bus. She's on her way to school, and the earthquake happens, and it destroys the bus and practically everyone on the bus. She's kind of faced with the decision whether to stay attached to where she is, where she's sort of safe, or go out there and find out what the heck's going on. In the beginning, I wasn't really drawn to Aries in any way. I don't know why, but I just wasn't. I liked her. I don't know, I wasn't attached to her as much. She's independent, and she's brave as well. She's trying to deal with these emotions she's faced with in this new, strange place where everyone is going ballistic. The next character we meet is Michael. We meet Michael as he's driving along with one of his friends, and something happens, and he's sort of separated from them as well. And he comes into contact with all these other characters and stuff. Michael, in the beginning he was very passive, and he was really scared. He was sort of a wuss, to be honest, but I would be too if people were trying to kill me for no apparent reason. I liked him. I just felt like he was one of those characters who needed to follow another character who was a leader. He's just a follower. Not that that's bad or anything, I just felt like he was very dependent, but he made decisions that were also independent of him, which I commend as well. I have respect for all four of these characters. They were just... I liked them all, but I really liked Mason and Clementine. Character development in this story was very, very gradual and very, very slow. I think that was needed in the plot for it to work. I don't think it would have worked if it was completely rushed and you didn't know anything about these characters. I really like that you were getting to know the characters as the characters were getting to know themselves. The plot is really, really unique and realistic. The pacing was kind of slow at times, but it was realistically slow. It felt natural and not rushed, and the plot was very interesting and very insightful. Lots of things are going on in this plot when you're reading it, and it's kind of disorienting because you're thrown into this world where it's full of confusion, despair, devastation, and survival, and you're kind of forced to live in this world with the characters. The one thing that really helped this plot move along was the writing. The writing style, I felt it was very professional, and it wasn't basic, or it wasn't YA-ish, if that makes sense. I don't know, I just can't describe it. It just didn't feel like a young adult book. It felt like an adult book. I felt that it was really easy to read, and it's simple, but it's complex. And I really like that about books, about writing styles. The simpler it is, the more complex it is, and I just love that. The writing style is not complicated, and it's not cluttered. It's just simple and easy to follow. I really liked that Jeyn Roberts wrote this book in third person, but she did it in an objective way so that you felt and saw what the characters felt and saw. But it wasn't strictly from their perspective. It was sort of an objective perspective where you felt what they felt and saw what they saw, but you also got to see their interaction with other characters and a world outside of their own world, if that makes sense. You got to see the world as it was. It just feels like you're getting the whole picture and the big picture of it all. I just feel like if she wrote this in first person strictly through the perspective of each of these characters, I felt like it probably wouldn't have worked. In this book, you really journey with the characters, you really progress with them, and you feel like you're traveling with them on their personal journey and on this journey in the book and the story and all that. There are some things I didn't like and they kind of threw me off. Some of the things that I didn't like were the paranormal aspect of it. In the beginning I wasn't buying it much and it was kind of confusing, but hopefully that'll be cleared up in the sequel. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. I definitely recommend it if you're considering reading this. It had a good open ending, and it was emotionally and mentally draining at times. I actually had to stop reading it for a while because I was so emotionally and mentally invested in this story. I really liked the characters, and I felt like the story was delightfully disturbing and devastating. I really liked the concept of the book, the themes, and it really made me think. There are just a few minor things that I didn't like about it, but hopefully those will be explained in the sequel called Rage Within, and I'm definitely going to pick that up and I look forward to reading it. That was my review on Dark Inside by Jeyn Roberts. I hope you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more book reviews and book related videos. Bye everyone!